is CNN.
We are marking Veterans Day by remembering vets long forgotten by many, but not by one radio producer. He faces a deadline unlike any other. CNN's Jim Huber has the story.
My name is Lloyd Brown, and my age, I forget now, 104 and a half now.
My name is Samuel Benedict Goldberg. I'm 106 years old.
Slowly, surely, they leave us. And who notices? The men and the women of the war to end all wars. Flyboys, sailors, doughboys, balloonists, cavalry. Once nearly 5 million strong sent to Europe in World War I. Now just a gnarled handful. Scattered across the rolling European countryside, they were once memorialized. Raised to the skies in a Kansas City park, they were set in stone. But over the decades, the crosses became blurred with more explosive wars, and the Veterans Memorial became a rundown shadow for addicts and hookers. They have been leaving us then for nearly 90 years. And who but their families and their comrades have cared?
Russell Buchanan, and I'm 106 years old, and World War I veteran.
Who keeps their flame? Well, for one, a 39-year-old independent radio producer from South Texas named Will Everett.
A year ago, there were about 35 to 40 veterans. Now there are just over a dozen, and going fast. I lost one last week.
By now, it is likely more of Will Everett's extended family will be gone. But those he captured on tape will forever be memorialized in a sweeping NPR documentary to be voiced by Walter Cronkite.
In it, the German Foreign Minister Alfred Zimmermann proposed an alliance with Mexico.
It's like a very slow countdown. I guess I was a little naive when I went into this, thinking, okay, we got plenty of time. These guys. As soon as I started interviewing him, my first interview subject died not long after I interviewed him, and then others have been passing since then. And it's just something I'm really glad I did when I did.
The inspiration from this came not by wandering the dunes of South Padre Island near where his home and his studio are, but thousands of miles to the east along the French fields of crosses.
What do these seas of graves really mean? You know, what was it all about? In those days, 15 years ago, it wasn't uncommon to meet veterans who out there with their grandchildren or great-grandchildren. They would, at that time, have been in their 90s. Now they're not, you don't see them anymore.
And so, with help from Veteran Affairs, he hurriedly began his search for those who could still be seen and heard. But at times, as you might imagine, with men ranging in age from 105 to 115, the extraction was difficult.
When people think about World War I, they immediately think of the trenches. And they want to hear stories, tales from the trenches. And the 3 veterans who are left who have trench experience, they don't want to talk about it. Even today, almost 90 years later, it's still a horrifying subject. And they've got these memories locked away very deep down.
The families, ironically, got involved with a lot of this. I mean, they actually urged their grandfathers and great-grandfathers to talk.
It took the involvement of the families, to everyone getting around Grandpa and saying, come on, Grandpa, tell us your stories. Come on, you're the last one. You got to tell it. When you're gone, there won't be any more.
With Cronkite anchoring the documentary, Will Everett enlisted the voices of local friends to fill in the gaps. Chris de Diesbach, who runs a local bed and breakfast, was once on the London stage.
The attack of last Thursday evening was preceded by the rising of a cloud of vapor.
And so it comes together. The keeper of the flame stirs the memories one final time. Just as they have come to the rescue in Kansas City of the graceful old Armistice Memorial, so does Will Everett come to a radio near you.
Nothing speaks louder than the testimony of an eyewitness. And we're losing the last of these eyewitnesses. I don't want to look into my crystal ball and tell you when they're going to be gone, because, you know, we just lost a 112-year-old, and we still have relative youngsters who are only 105 who might live another 10 years. I don't know. I hope they do.
I'm Jim Huber for CNN.